Welcome back to Have an Opinion. We have Jake, Paul, and Tyron Woodley thoughts that we're going to give to all viewers. How about The Departed? And we're going to talk about a Forensic Files episode. That's right. Your favorite investigators are back at it once again. All of that and more coming up after the intro. Welcome back to Have an Opinion. What? Opinion? Nick and Kyle here. We're keeping that in. We've already tried the other intro 3 times. An opinion.
You just added a what? I thought like something happened.
No, nothing happened. Just, I can't talk.
It's going to be a good episode.
I guess so. How is life? We just talked for an hour about life, and now we're going to pretend everything's all hunky-dory to the audience.
It was great. It was a good day at work today. That was cool.
Yeah, those are always appreciated.
Yeah, easy day. I was tired this morning, but now I'm not, so.
Yeah.
That's about it.
You can ask me how my day's going?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forget. Oh, boy, I didn't mean to tilt that.
It's all
your
good.
Day off?
It's a day off, so it's
Tell
good.
me you slept in. For me.
No, I'm broken. Well, the thing is,
I'm broken.
I go back and forth between opening and closing so much that I can't sleep past about 8 o'clock. Wow. Because some days I wake up at 5, some days I wake up at 6, some days I wake up at 8:30. And it's if I can sleep in, it's 8:30.
I usually wake up at 8 or so, like on the weekends, but then I can roll around till 10.
Mm-hmm. I like having the morning, though.
Yeah.
The days feel a lot longer when the morning's there.
Noon. When noon is like 4 hours from when you get up versus like 1 hour.
I can't believe we used to do that so frequently.
Oh
or sleep past noon. Like
Stay
at college,
up till 3,
even sleep past noon.
Sleep until noon.
Speaking of college, everyone's back now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my friends are still in college, whether they're getting masters or whatever.
Yep.
It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah. A couple guys I know who do like LeCom, they've been back, like pharmacy school and whatnot. And it was weird, like hearing them get ready to go back to school and like studying, and it's like, gosh, I get home and sit on the couch.
Yeah.
It's weird because like biology was my major or whatever. It was like all my life was studying, and it was like, oh, this test is over. I have this weekend to have fun and hang out, and then boom, there's another test for some other class. And so it's weird to just not have any responsibility.
I do enjoy it because I thought about grad school doing it immediately. And now I'm like, well, I get home and the time I have at home is mine.
Right.
It's not like, oh boy, I should really study this now and you have it looming over your head. The next day of work is the only thing that looms over your head now, and that's...
You ever like,
it's not
as
as
you're
bad.
Punching out, be like, gosh, like you're already upset about the next day.
Yeah.
It's like, gosh, you can't let that get to you. You're lost.
I like to think after a while it goes away.
Yeah.
Once I have my career job too, I like to think it'll go away. But it's weird. It's like my girlfriend's cheating on me and everyone doesn't care. Because every night it's just snap stories of my friends doing stuff at school, talking. And it's some of my friends that did graduate or within a half hour of the people that are there. And so they can do stuff. And it's just... I'm in Erie. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Hey guys, it's me, Nick. Guys. Hey.
We'll have to go visit soon.
I don't want to say I peaked in college, but it's an idea and a thought that I'm considering. Just because by the end,
it was so fun.
I was in charge of my student organization. Everyone valued what I said. Everyone was like,
that's true. You did a lot more like club type stuff than I did.
You're the spark plug. You can make anyone laugh and break the tense situations. I've been like, not like I go, oh boy, I really needed that self gratification of everyone saying, boy, how much we appreciate you. But it's weird going from that to being the lowest on the totem pole in every job I have. And it's like, the dumb kid's back now. Oh, great. Let's see how far behind he puts us today.
Oh, I can't tell you how big of a wake-up call it was because I work in a shop, obviously, that. And it was like my book smarts was like up here, and my common knowledge, logic.
That's exactly how I felt.
And I mean, the first day, like having trouble ringing up a hose, and it's like, Jesus, I can tell you anything you want to know about, biology, but I can't ring up a hose on the ground. Like, I felt useless.
The one day we have pallet jacks and stuff there. There were 2 there was 1 sitting on the ground, and there were 2 on the pallet jack. I took both of the 2 off the pallet jack and put them on top of the 1, which made no sense. I should have just put the 1 on top of the 2. And the one forklift driver saw it, he goes, do you know what you just did? And I went, oh, I know what I just did. And I can't look him in the eye. I'm not even kidding. I can't look this dude in the eye anymore. I'll just see him,
I'm
and
the same way at work.
I know he thinks of that when he looks at me now because you really haven't had many other conversations, and so I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, that's the other thing too. People be like, you know, you can just do it this way. It's like, no, I know. Like, as soon as I did it, I realized I'm an idiot.
And there's a guy there. There's a couple people at work that like either jokingly like play it at work or they actually listen to it.
Oh, okay.
There's one guy there is a forensics major. He doesn't listen to this or anything, but just listening to him talk about some of the things I'm just like, no. I had something ruined for me by him. Do you know that our favorite item ever, luminol?
Yeah.
They don't use it anymore because it destroys DNA evidence, they found out.
What?
So they don't use luminol anymore. Our favorite forensic files detergent, I guess, or
and
substance.
DNA evidence is the forensic. That's the whole show. Is how you can use DNA evidence to you don't. Oh my god!
Did that not ruin your day finding out they don't use luminol anymore? Because it damn well hampered mine.
I have a note that says "luminol in action?" Because they were spraying on the shoe prints. Oh, and that's hilarious. Because how many cases do you think they use luminol and they're like, oh, we see you tried to clean blood there, and then either no one checked the DNA or vice versa. They're like, okay, prove it's our DNA, and they go, wait a minute, this is no different than barbecue sauce on the floor.
That kind of bummed me out. But no, it's weird. It's weird not being at school. Is the long roundabout way of getting into that.
We're gonna have to go visit the friends that remain. Yeah, because like I used to look forward to like I would always have a test on the Friday. I would come visit you guys, and I would look forward to that. I mean, what? I feel like I would text you like 10 days out. I mean,
10 more days till we go down there.
Oh. I miss that. I mean, I would still look forward to it the same way if, just because I'm working, but I miss like grinding school and then like this weekend I have to just do whatever type thing.
And that's like the weekend's not fun anymore. Not because I still work weekends most of the time, but
Sunday isn't as fun because like school on Monday, if it's an easy Monday, but like when is work on Monday ever a good one?
Fall semester last year, I didn't have class Monday, Wednesday, Friday either.
Yeah, that's...
I literally had 5 days off a week to dick around and do whatever I felt like doing.
That's really nice.
I mean, granted, Tuesday, Thursday was 8 to 5 school, basically. Sure. I had 2 3-hour classes and then 2-hour 15-minute classes. And then I had an online class that I just did everything on Sunday.
Right.
Because it wasn't that tedious.
Sure.
But, I mean, that was a grind. But now it's like I work 5 days a week. And if out of the 2 days I get off, I usually go to another job on the one day, and then after my shift, sometimes I'll go to my one of my other jobs, and so it's like welcome to being a writer.
Yeah, the second job is a killer, especially when I have it on the weekend, because then I can't sleep in. I work, real early in the morning through the week. Then you got to go to work on the weekends.
Yeah,
and then people at the first job be like, "Gosh, we got to stay late today," and it's like, I mean, yeah, we have to stay an hour late, and then I have to go work another 5 hours. The
day's not done.
It's not their fault, right?
Yeah.
I'm in my own situation. I get it, but it does sting to hear that and be like, yeah. Or like I get to the second job, they're like, man, I'm tired. I'm like, yeah, I bet you're tired.
Yeah.
Where were you at 4:30 this morning?
Stuffing hot dogs this morning. Anyway, at work the other day. Now I get there's medical conditions. I'm not trying to make fun. Okay, I'm kind of trying to make fun of it. If it's by choice. Anymore. Okay. There's a customer that's a female. Beautiful mustache. Like just a full lip worth of mustache, right? Every time I see her, I'm like, is that by choice or we got a problem? So we're going to go with the assumption it's by choice. Like one of the levels is off and there's just some hair growing up there. Doesn't feel like getting it checked out. That's what we're going to roll with the assumption with. And all day at work yesterday, I'm thinking to myself, is there a market where men are into women with mustaches?
Gosh, I hope.
Is there a market?
There is. There's people into everything, but gosh.
I tried to reword it to make it sound like, are men attracted to women with mustaches?
Right.
And everything just came up, are mustaches attractive to women? And I was really bummed out because I was really trying to find... Oh,
like you searched this?
I turned off my Wi-Fi. We were on data. Verizon was not, or Spectrum was not going to find out for sure. But it was like, there's got to be some pocket of the internet of unashamed dudes that are just like, you know what? I love a good sturdy woman with a good set of hair above the lip, Couldn't find it. I was actually genuinely bummed out about it because
Couldn't find it.
it's like one of those things. Like there has to be people with that kink.
Oh,
There's
sure.
got to be
Yeah.
people with that kink, and I couldn't find it, and I'm just disappointed in myself for not being able to find it because I wanted to come here and go on WeLoveHairyWomen.org, the number 32 dating site in the country. Everyone on it really loves women with facial hair or something, and I couldn't find that, and I feel like I let everyone down. I might have to give a more inspired look between this week and next week, but
that's funny.
man, I was bummed out to not find anything about that. And it's funny,
That's
mentioned
surprising. I feel like that would be something that would come up rather quickly.
I know. I thought there would be
Like something that niche of an audience.
Maybe at the top there would be a couple things like, do women find mustaches attractive? And then if you scroll down a little bit,
you
there's
get
a
to
couple.
the nitty gritty. That's right.
But yeah, on that haunted second page of Google, maybe there. But I couldn't find anything.
Wow.
I was really
You
bummed
were to
out.
the 24th O on Google.
Yeah, I was Google. Yeah, I don't know. It was.
That's funny.
I know I keep saying, but it was frustrating. It genuinely was frustrating. Really, really wanted to have some good conversation to make from that today. But
pull that up.
what, Joe Rogan? Pull that up, Jamie.
We just have a screen here. Just pull up the website. Make an account.
Oh man, Joe Rogan has COVID. Did you hear about that?
That's a bummer.
He's taken all this. He's taken the human version of some horse dewormer thing. He's taken some IV drip and some other stuff, and he's like, "Oh, I was sick for a day." And I said, "Huh." It's interesting. We're not talking about COVID again.
No.
I've had enough. We know what happens when we talk about COVID on the show. But anyway, moving forward. Now I kind of liked that. I kind of liked the side banter there.
That was fun.
I enjoyed that actually.
We both have weird enough occurrences at work that it could last a while.
Yeah. What else? Oh
no, there's more.
This is not funny at all.
Oh,
Like I just feel like I need to put this on air for myself in case something ends up happening with it.
Gosh,
The other day I'm out for a walk.
Yeah?
And I want it to be clear, I don't live in a bad neighborhood. There's a house, there's a lot of old retired people around me.
I pulled
There's families with like 3 people. They only had 1 kid. They didn't need to get bigger houses. Like the houses are nice, but they're nothing like crazy. And so the neighborhood's not bad. There's like a couple houses where the state ended up getting them or whatever, and they lease them out or rent them out, and some weird shady people come in there.
Okay.
There's one down the road that there's just squatters in it. We're pretty sure they're selling drugs. That's really the only kicker. And
Gotcha.
they're not making meth. It's not a big deal. I'll let them do what they want to do.
Right.
So that made this even more concerning when I'm out for a walk. I tell my parents I'm going to go for like a really quick walk, right? Mm-hmm. I'm walking, as you do on a walk. You walk.
See, you're gonna tell me what happened, and I'm gonna be caught laughing at the
I know.
previous
Well,
joke.
I also have a problem where every story I tell, I try to
make funny. I do it too.
Yeah, because that's how I tell any story.
Yeah.
And so I go up to turn up like a hill. Mm-hmm. I'm mentally prepared, like, oh man, it's not a steep hill, but I'm at the end. I'm like a mile and a half in. Like I really am not feeling it. I turn left, and this girl is walking by this car. She looks like really disheveled. Okay. She had a mask on, so I couldn't like read the facial reaction completely. She looked a little tired, looked a little disheveled. I was like, huh, she's kind of walking quick. I'm like, huh, that's weird. There was a car next to the curb. I'm like, did she get out of that car? Like, what's going on?
Right.
So I'm walking up the hill, and I go, that just really didn't seem right. I look back. The car's driving alongside her on the curb, and she's walking. And I'm like, okay, something's not right here.
Right.
So I turn around. I don't know. I'm not good with guessing how far things are. I'm going to guess like a little less than half a football field. Maybe like 40 yards or so behind I'm staying.
Okay. So you're behind them at this point?
Yes. Okay. Probably 40, 30 yards behind. Not enough where they're getting suspicious of me being behind them.
Right.
Because I didn't want the guy in the car to be like, hey, like you got a problem or whatever. Yeah, I got binoculars or something. But I'm walking down this hill and he's right next to her the whole time, and I just go, this is just really weird. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to at least get a license plate, and if she gets far enough away, I'm going to, like, yell, do you need help or something?
Right.
Like, I don't care. did I have my keys on me? I had convinced myself something to where if he pulled out any sort of weapon, I would be fine.
Oh.
I don't know why. if he had a gun, like, I couldn't run away. He'd just go bang.
You pull out your keys
that'd be that. Yeah, but I don't think I had my keys now I think of it. Whatever it was, I had myself convinced I would be fine.
Okay.
Oh, I had my AirPods in, and I had the phone pulled up. I had the emergency, on the iPhone it says emergency call. I had emergency call pulled up.
Oh, okay.
So I was ready to call if something did happen.
Got it.
And at least if I died, I would have died knowing, like, I got 911 punched and I was like, he stabbed me, and, like, so whatever. And see, there's me making fun of the situation. But anyway, there's, like, a parking lot and there's a light. Yep. She cuts left and crosses the parking lot. He gets stuck at the red light. I speed up. I don't want to say I was running. It's kind of like an inspired jog, I would say. Because I also, again, I didn't want him to see me sprinting at his car and go, what's this dude doing? Because me and him made eye contact when I initially turned up to walk up the hill.
Right.
So I'm getting really close, got the camera up now, ready to take a picture of his license plate. Light turns green, like out of a movie when you're about to catch the bad guy. Like, He turns, goes right back down the road she ended up getting to after she cut through the parking lot.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is weird. Yeah. Like now we're through multiple intersections. We're at a light. He's still staying on it. Like, this is not right.
Yeah.
And so then they were probably over half a football field away by this point because I had to wait for some traffic because it's a kind of busy road.
Okay.
And I see her, like, throw her arms in the air and, like, very reluctantly get in this car. Car peels away. At this point, there was a truck that had pulled up behind them, and it pulls away in succession with this car, and that's that.
Okay.
I know nothing else about what happened. It just looked very weird.
Wow.
Could have been as simple as a couple fighting. Could have been as messed up as, like, sex trafficking. And again, that might be deep because it was still kind of light out for something like that. But, like, just seeing that and seeing how uncomfortable of a situation it was.
That is.
Now it's on record. That's the full story to his bet. I believe it was a white Honda.
Oh my gosh.
That's everything. If anything happens in the paper that I can go, that might have been this guy. Now I know it's all on audio right here. So thank you all for listening to that. But yeah, it's terrifying.
It's almost like a Forensic Files episode. Like,
I know.
Somebody listens to this podcast, and next thing you know. That is stuff like that happens where, like, it could have been as easy as a couple fighting, and then they finally, got it together and drove away. But it's like, to a bystander, especially when you can't hear what they're talking about, because, like, especially too, it's probably a good defense mechanism, but, like, your mind instantly goes to the worst possible thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But that's probably for the better. You don't want to just go, oh, they're probably just a couple and walk away.
Right.
I'd say you did the right thing.
Thank you.
A lot of people just not get involved.
I was ready. But anyway, that's enough of us talking about random things, as much fun as it might be. Now we're going to get into what we actually advertised at the beginning of the show instead of 15 minutes of Nick and Kyle aimless bantering. The Departed. So if you recall last week, Kyle gave his top movies ever.
Yep.
In his opinion, his favorite movies, not top movies ever. They might be the same list. I don't know. But he had some honorable mentions on there. One of them was The Departed. Hopped on Netflix after we recorded it, saw The Departed was on there. Instantly can tell you, probably a top 5 favorite movie of mine.
Yeah, you said that. And
instantly.
That's awesome. I'm glad you like it so much. And to be fair, if I watched all those movies on my list over again, this one could make it on there. I mean, that's the nice thing, I guess, about honorable mentions. But, I mean, it's a good movie.
And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're not going to review it.
Sorry, what if you just went, and now we're going to talk about Forensic Files?
Yeah. That's all. It's a good movie. I just wanted Kyle to know that the movie he said was an honorable mention was a good movie. Moving on to Forensic Files. We're not going to review it. Movie's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah,
When we review movies, we summarize them. A lot of twists and turns in this one. There'd be a lot of explaining. It would be a good hour and a half prior review.
Sure.
We don't want to do that to all of you today.
Right.
Especially after the Josie Wales debacle of 2021.
And it's a good enough movie to where, like, it's not like we're trying to get you to watch some, low budget indie movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big enough movie. It's a good enough movie.
We don't need to entice you.
Right, yeah.
But
if you haven't seen
conveniently,
it yet,
we are going to talk about what makes this movie good, which is kind of enticing you. So I guess maybe we're all just hypocrites here on having an opinion. I'll tell you, spoiler alert, in case you didn't know.
Just ruin the ending.
Huge spoiler alert.
Wait.
Because my first thing that makes this movie just great, you never could have seen that ending coming.
No.
If you've ever watched another movie before, you never saw this ending coming. Because 9 out of 10 movies are, bad guy gets got, good guy wins.
Or vice versa.
La-di-da. Or la-di-da.
Every now and then it's like, oh, okay, the bad guy won.
Yeah, life is hard. The good guy doesn't always win.
Right, there's two common
once
endings.
in a while. This one, no, everyone dies.
And it was like, you could see some of it coming, and then it keeps going and going. It's like, oh, okay. Like when Matt Damon's going back to his apartment. It's like, oh, all right.
Mm-hmm.
He came out on top, whether you think he's the good guy, the bad guy, you know?
Right.
But, yeah, I do like the ending. The first time I saw it, I remember being like, that's how it's going to end? But then it's like, when you look at the movie as a whole, it's like, that makes sense with all the characters. It's kind of fitting.
There's the rat on the window ledge, too, at the end of the movie.
Oh, I thought you were like...
No, there's like, not a rat.
Do I need to not move?
No.
Yeah, the rat on the...
Kyle's acting like we're doing this in an underground bunker. Just in an abandoned house.
Under heavy mortar fire?
Yeah.
It's not funny.
War crimes aren't funny, Kyle Berger.
Not at all.
I mean, Kyle from Have an Opinion. But, no, I really enjoyed the symbolism. You know, the movie starts, Matt Damon's buying groceries. Mm-hmm. And Phil Jackson's a basketball coach for the Lakers. Phil Nicholson is enticing him to join his gang. The movie ends and Mark Wahlberg shoots Matt Damon, who's carrying groceries. I thought it was kind of a fun little callback.
I always forget the beginning, but you're right.
But also, I didn't really guess much right about that movie.
No.
I was guessing what was going to happen. I guessed that Matt Damon was going to find a way to frame Martin Sheen to be the rat or have knowledge of being the rat.
Right.
And then my mind went to when that happens, I went, oh, Martin Sheen and DiCaprio are going to have to prove, that they're actually the good guys and they're going to work together and Mark Wahlberg will get brought back in even though he quit the police force, blah, 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 blah.
That's right.
No, they just throw Martin Sheen off a roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a very, I hate to say it, very funny slow motion, dramatic falling from the sky.
Yeah, and then there's like the race to get at it. That's a really tense scene from what I remember.
A lot of that movie's really tense.
Yeah. There was a quote, I was looking at it on IMDb. Leonardo DiCaprio said his character was like a 24-hour constant panic attack, was like his mindset. Mm-hmm. He also said his one scene with Jack Nicholson is like one of the most memorable moments of his life.
Did I say Phil Nicholson?
Did
I say Phil Jackson, then Phil Nicholson?
Oh, wait, maybe you did.
Dude, I don't know what I'm saying. Old white people.
I knew what you meant.
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. And one of his better roles.
I promise I'm not dumb.
I saw another thing on there. They had to like really convince him. And then he finally agreed to do it because he had played a lot of good guys and he wanted to play an evil villain. And he said this character was like...
Wasn't he a Joker?
The embodiment of evil. Yeah, but that was in like the 80s.
I mean, no, that was a long time ago when this movie was made.
He did a bunch of good characters and then, in this movie, he's a bad guy.
And then he made The Bucket List after this movie with Morgan Freeman.
Bucket List is that's a sad movie.
Here's the thing. When I saw that, we were young when that movie came out. We were probably like 10.
Yeah.
And they advertised this, this is a good comedy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that, like, my family took me to see it, and we were all like, this isn't that funny. It's just two old dudes.
It's more just like a good movie that's
And so I've never watched it again.
Oh, no?
So my impression of that movie is, that movie's not funny, it sucks, because I thought it was a comedy when I was growing up.
Oh,
being
you should
advertised.
watch it again.
So now I'm like, well...
You know the plot, right?
Oh, I know the plot. Okay. And I know that they tease it to where it's going to be Jack Nicholson that dies at the end, but then it's Morgan Freeman that dies at the end, right?
To be honest with you, I don't remember.
They set it up for one of them's going to die, and then it turns out the other one dies.
Yeah.
And then the other one's like, wow, like he really inspired me to keep living life to the fullest kind of deal, basically. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it does. It definitely goes that route. I forget which is which.
But anyway, I need to watch that movie again with the this is going to be a direct
really
competitor
sad.
to Animal House in terms of comedic value.
Yeah,
but anyway, back to The Departed, the actual thing we're talking about today.
Yeah, just the thing I said on here, the biggest thing that stands out is the writing and the acting in that movie. I mean, Scorsese, what I was thinking about earlier on the way over here was, do you think, like, so he gets really good performances out of all his actors, like Goodfellas, Shutter Island, which is one of the ones I told you about with DiCaprio, Wolf of Wall Street with DiCaprio. Like, do you think as a director he gets that performance out of them, or do you think DiCaprio says, "Gosh, that's Martin Scorsese. I really got to do a good job here." I wonder. What do you think? It's
probably both.
A little bit of both, because like DiCaprio doesn't have to impress him
I mean,
anymore.
yeah, maybe when they were younger.
Sure.
Because this was 06, so I mean, DiCaprio was established by then.
But he wasn't what he is now.
Yeah, he's not an instant. And again, we weren't old enough back then to know.
True.
But
you just wonder who you credit, basically.
Is it like him going, I still have something to prove and I'm with Scorsese now, as opposed to when they worked together for The Wolf of Wall Street? He was like, oh, he needs me more than I need him kind of deal.
And Scorsese gives him a character that he can really like encompass.
Like, you tell me when he played Jordan Belfort, DiCaprio couldn't be like, wow, I can play a rich douchebag.
Yeah.
I think that's perfect. And then here, I can play a cool undercover cop,
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of a mix of both. I just think he's a really good director. Scorsese's probably in my top 5 best directors.
Of course. But I definitely think it's both.
Yeah. That was the one thing, like some movies have really good cinematography. Quentin Tarantino's movies always have cool shots on top of his great dialogue and everything. This movie had really good dialogue, I thought.
I really enjoyed this.
Funny. Like, there were some really, like, funny scenes in this movie for not being a comedy.
That's how a lot of these movies are.
Yeah.
A lot of good movies I've realized that I've seen kind of had that dry kind of humor. Especially when you got all these guys from Boston in this movie talking with their fun little accents.
Wahlberg. Oh.
But I thought everyone... It's going to sound like such a stupid, like, we all had fun today, but I thought everyone had a really good performance, at least bigwig, from a bigwig standpoint of Nicholson, Wahlberg.
I say Wahlberg did
Sheen,
well. He was young.
DiCaprio and Damon. I thought they all really...
Sheen did well.
I really thought Matt Damon did a good job of being just a horrible person.
Yeah, and like that annoying...
Yeah.
Yeah. His Boston accent is rough. Is Matt Damon from Boston? I know him and Ben Affleck are really good friends. I know Ben Affleck's from Boston. And like in what's that movie with the How Do You Like Them Apples?
Good Will Hunting. It's funny that 2 weeks in a row we both only knew that movie from that comment.
Yeah, I need to watch it. That movie's so good, apparently. I haven't seen it. But he has a Boston accent in that movie, I think, too. But I just noticed it, like, it's...
Had to check the old camera there. I apologize to those that saw me leaning over. And
it's a thick accent. If you can get past the Boston accents of this movie, you'd love it. For anybody who's skeptical of that. But I don't think that matters too much. Accents are accents.
That's beautiful.
I don't know where I was going. I brought up the accents and I was like...
Words, not worlds. But yeah, the unpredictability, the ending, would be my two big things. And then the performances.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson,
which you touched
probably.
On. He does a good job. Him and Damon both do a good job being like, oh man, I hate you.
Yeah.
Damon's is like, oh, you arrogant little prick. And Jack Nicholson, while that's the case, it's like he's just a very old man that's had his way for a long time. And you're like, oh, I want to see this piece of crap finally get it. It's been coming to him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty greasy in that movie.
He is pretty greasy. That's a good word to use, greasy. I forgot about describing people as greasy. That's a tough one to come back from.
His hair, he just, you know what I mean? He doesn't care. He doesn't have to care anymore.
He kind of remind me of Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems.
Yeah, a little bit. Just
in
greasy.
terms of the grease.
Yeah, it's just...
I just tried to move my chair and just punched my calf instead of moving my chair because my chair was stuck and my arm just flung forward, and that was really that. This is a train wreck today in terms of me and you just being mentally with it.
That's tough because we rambled on work and now we're trying to like pick out serious points from a movie that we've seen a little bit ago.
And I saw a potential kidnapping.
And
right before we started this, and now we're like, hey, how about Mark Wahlberg?
Hey, Boston.
Oh, man. Did you have anything else?
No, I think we covered the biggest points. I would say if you're looking for a good gangster movie that isn't like old school Italian mobsters like Goodfellas, like you want something different than Goodfellas and A Bronx Tale and stuff like that. This is a good. Obviously, it's Boston. It's totally different than New York, but it's still. It's good. It's modern. It's got every. You know what I mean. The police aspect of it is different. Like in all those old gangster movies, it's like, one guy gets caught. Is he gonna rat? This that. This one's more like the rat's already planted. Is he on the inside? Is he not? Because you know, Good callback.
Good callback there.
Yeah. Good flick. It's weird. Like I said earlier, this isn't a movie you have to sell people on.
No.
If someone listened to this or read a quick review, saw all the people in it, was like, I'm not going to watch it. It's like, well, then don't bother.
Then you didn't want to watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a hard movie to follow. I knew I had another point, and I forgot.
That's a good
For
point.
a 2.5 hour movie, you could be like, oh, it could get really convoluted and just complex and confusing, but you get the backstory of everybody, you pay attention to that, and you're pretty much scot-free as long as you're...
The love interest kind of isn't
Yeah,
Vera Farmiga's
the point of
name.
her being in it, I didn't get it, other than to have a notable female character in the movie.
Right.
It felt like they were just like, there needs to be sex in this movie here. And
because she's with the two, and
she goes back and forth.
It's like a love triangle.
And there's never any real crescendo point to where there's
right.
I know what I'm trying to say, and now I lost it. Now I can't get to it. But there's no big point to where it's like, that's why she was in the movie. That's the point of her character. She ends up with so-and-so after all.
Yeah,
as much as it's like
Matt Damon, and then she's like a therapist for for DiCaprio. And
it's just she's engaged to Matt Damon, but she truly wants DiCaprio, and DiCaprio's dead now, and she found out Matt Damon's a piece of crap. Then at the end, it's like, is it implied that they're gonna think she killed Matt Damon?
Yeah, and she's pregnant at the end too, I'm pretty sure. So then it's like, well, what happens there?
Yeah.
I saw something too online. It was like, what's the plot? What's the movie about? What's the point? And somebody said there's a common theme in a lot of his gangster movies of families being broken apart, the way that family just kind of gets ruined by that.
Vin Diesel knows about family.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
He would know.
He wouldn't dabble into that kind of nonsense.
I didn't like her inclusion in this.
She's
that much.
the least good part of the movie, but she's still not bad.
And it's like, here's this really in-depth sex scene where she's biting her lip and getting really into Scorsese's like, I really want them to know that she enjoys hooking up with Leo more than Matt Damon, so we're gonna show fingering and biting of lips and stuff, and that's gonna that needs to be in my gangster movie. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, I already at that point wasn't invested in the storyline. It was like, here's 15 minutes of the movie that I don't give a damn about.
Yeah.
And so that was just like sending it over the top, like, now I know why this is in here, because they needed to let the horny people watching the movie get their rocks off.
Right, to make it more mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure if that movie comes out today, it wouldn't have as much of that, because there's not as much need to please the popcorn audience anymore.
But no, that's my only real gripe with that movie.
And
other than that, not to
good.
Keep reiterating the same points. Again, the dialogue's fantastic. You're not going to predict what happens. And that's really all I got, unless you had anything else to add.
I was going to say on IMDb's top movies, they have a top 250 list. It's all user reviews, so I could give something a 10 and boost it up. It ranks 45th, just behind Whiplash. 2 spots.
Oh, Whiplash.
2 spots above The Prestige, one of my favorite movies.
So you're telling me Whiplash is that high now?
Whiplash, they both have an 8.5. Whiplash is ranked at 44.
Okay. I can get behind that. I like seeing Whiplash get all the fanfare it's gotten.
Yeah.
What's number 1?
Shawshank. Shawshank is number 1 with a 9.2. Godfather is number 2 with a 9.1.
And Rocky.
No, number 3 is The Godfather Part 2 with a 9.0. Then Dark Knight. Number 5, one of my movies, 12 Angry Men. They say it's the 5th best movie of all time.
Okay.
It is good. Pulp Fiction's number 8. But see, it's user reviews, so that's where it's weird. Like, Lord of the Rings, the third Lord of the Rings is 7. The first one is 10. And the second one is 14. So in the top 14 best movies of all time, the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, I mean, they're good movies. I've seen them. But I mean, all 3 of them in the top 14 movies. Forrest Gump's not 12. Forrest Gump is not the 12th best movie of all time.
No.
Get that out of here. Goodfellas? You telling me it's better than Goodfellas? That's what. Whenever I see this list, I
got
always...
a Forrest Gump callback later on in the show as well.
Oh, good. Interstellar 28. Have you seen Interstellar? What? It's a Christopher Nolan movie?
I've heard all about it.
That's one of our buddies' favorites. Your, I don't know, your son, your dad. I don't know what the joke is between you two.
Yeah, Justin's my dad is the joke.
Gotcha.
There we go.
That's his, I think The Departed was his favorite movie. He watched Interstellar, and I believe that's now his favorite movie.
Okay.
It's, Oh, maybe that's the
Kyle's-
next one. Interstellar is... It's Christopher Nolan, so like The Dark Knight was Christopher Nolan. The Prestige, twist ending. Interstellar.
Wow.
Inception. That guy, I mean, Dark Knight, the whole Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, Prestige, Memento, which is like the most mind-bending movie with a twist. It's like you watch like 5-minute chunks. The ones that are in black and white are going in reverse order. The ones that are in color were happening in the past. I mean, it's like insane. It's a really good movie though. What else did he do? Dunkirk. Tenet. I'm missing another big one too that I forgot he made.
The Cat in the Hat.
No, but close. He's doing an adaptation.
He's doing a live adaptation. Like Cats with the full CGI one.
Oh gosh, how bad was that?
Not as bad as Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley, Kyle.
Good.
Not as bad as Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. Listen, I watched the whole fight. From sunrise to sunset, I watched the whole fight, right? And I have to say, it wasn't horrible.
That's what I heard. I heard it was more like a boxing match.
It looked like boxing, which is a lot more than you could say about any other fight he's had.
Well, what, he threw one punch in the other fight?
He threw about 5 punches
Askren?
in the other ones and
Ben
knocked
Askren
out a bunch of soda
like
cans. Ben Askren with his broken hip, his replaced hip, and known as a wrestler ass, he got dunked on.
The not the KSI fight. The
Nate Robinson
fight was decent.
Yeah, it went 2 rounds almost.
It went 2 rounds. Sure, Nate Robinson got clobbered, but he looked like a boxer.
He, honest to God, didn't look bad.
Right.
I mean, it didn't look good.
Because the first one he fought that like YouTuber.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy, I don't know who his trainer
Ensign
was.
Gibb or whatever his name is.
Yeah. I don't know who trained him. Because I always would fall for that with the Logan Paul fights. You watch his Snap story, his live one, and be like, dang, this guy's really putting in work. And then you realize that was just one day of his week. He filmed all that for 5 minutes, and then he was done. But I think Jake Paul's... I'm not giving him too much credit yet. He hasn't fought a boxer yet. But he's making the right steps. It's just... Is this
you have to
win?
fight a real boxer.
You're 4-0, but like, are you really...
Yeah.
Because what happens if he fights a real boxer and he can't go 12
he beat
rounds?
A YouTuber, a basketball player, and 2 MMA fighters that were
better on the
wrestling
ground.
based.
Yeah. How many rounds did it go? Did it go 12 or 10?
It was 8.
8. That's the other thing, too. Can he go 12 3-minute rounds?
Well, the thing...
If
everyone was questioning his stamina.
Yeah.
He looked very gassed at a point, got a good second win, threw some good combinations still, and then went back to looking kind of gassed again.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of how it goes.
I can't remember the whole fight, but...
I mean, you don't have to have, like,
there was
best
clear
stamina,
red flags in how he performed. Like, he got clocked that one time, flew back into the ropes. Tyron Woodley, like, he kind of tried to push, but he didn't really seek out the knockout.
You made it seem like he didn't, like, pick his spots very well.
And he never...
Which, I mean, that's understandable.
Jake Paul did a lot of running, too. I hate to be that guy who's like, oh, he ran. But Tyron Woodley was marching him down, and he just really wasn't getting after it. Like, Jake Paul, for being the bigger dude, he was not the aggressor, really, as it went on.
Dancing around.
He was doing the running. He did enough to win the round in the sense that he was landing punches because he was a lot longer. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Tyron Woodley was the one controlling where things were going. He just wasn't being aggressive in terms of throwing punches. Jake Paul was throwing all the punches.
Okay. I mean, if you're the guy with the height and reach advantage, you should be kind of dancing around, picking your spots. So I guess that's impressive. It's just to go all 8 rounds with a guy who's not a boxer and then to win by split decision.
It should have been split decision, though.
What do you mean? It should have been all in favor of Paul?
It should have been unanimous Jake Paul.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm trying to think of how many rounds I actually thought he lost. I thought it was probably 5-3.
Okay.
I could see 6-2. But I don't know. I thought Woodley landed the better punches when he actually knocked him into the ropes. Jake Paul, no one talked about it. He had Woodley where Woodley needed to clinch one time, or else he was in big trouble. But he regained his crap pretty quickly.
Okay.
But Woodley, the whole beginning, like wouldn't throw anything. He just looked really. He talked about how he developed a jab, I don't think he really did the jab until the 4th round. I don't think he used it till the 4th round. And
he developed the most basic punch you could throw. I've been working on it.
He looked good. As it went on, Woodley looked like he got confidence in his boxing skill.
Okay.
He just didn't have the push, the finish him mentality going. By that point, it was too late for him to win on points. And so Jake Paul knew he needed to get knocked out. And so Jake Paul was running around. He'd throw a good combination. And the thing that really pissed me off, and granted they still hurt, he would throw a combination and maybe one would graze him because Woodley would have his hands up and maybe one would get through like the opening jab.
Right.
Or one would graze him. But because of the sound it makes when the gloves hit, everyone in the crowd that was 13 was like, oh! And I was like, they're not even hitting him.
It's not, yeah.
I mean, he's throwing the combination. One's getting through, so it's still getting some part of the job done. Yeah. It's helping him win the round, but he's not putting him on the brink, you know?
And for him to show that he can win on points and win as a boxer is impressive. But when you're doing it against another person that isn't a trained boxer, it doesn't hold up as well. And now who are you going to fight next? That's been my question every time he fights somebody that isn't a boxer.
Everyone's saying Tommy Fury, who I didn't think he looked that good.
Tommy Fury. Oh, Tyson's
little brother. He didn't look that good on the undercard.
What are they both light heavyweights?
I think they're both around 190 or so.
Okay, that could be heavy. I might
be wrong. Fury fought a guy. He had like a 10 or 11 inch reach advantage. He's like 4 inches taller than him. They went to decision, and all the guy did really was run and not do much. I mean, the guy was an escape artist too, of just like running around with his hands up, not doing anything.
I mean, 10 inches. I mean, that's almost from me to you with my fist out.
But I don't know. I didn't think he looked that good, but again, he throws with a lot more power than anyone else Jake Paul has fought. And you're telling me Jake Paul, if he gets tired later on, he's toast.
I'm going to just look and see what Tommy Fury looks like.
But he looks nothing like Tyson Fury. I know they're half-brothers technically, but he looks nothing like him.
Oh, yeah, no, he's got like dark hair.
Yeah, I think their dad's the same, but yeah, I have no... Well, the dad's obviously the same. They both have the same last name, but...
Oh, he should definitely fight this dude. Holy cow.
He's huge.
He is?
He's massive. But he's inexperienced, too. I think he's only 22. He's like 7-0 or something.
Yeah, he's only 7 wins, light heavyweight, 6 foot, 22. He's our age. He's 22 years old.
So
he's not even that much.
He's
taller.
he's not peaking in terms of his boxing skill, which is what kind of concerns me if they were to fight next, because Jake Paul's retired and unretired in the meantime since that last fight. But
so Jake Paul's a cruiserweight. He's 24, 6'1", 4 wins. So size wise, I guess they'd be similar. It's weird. Jake Paul doesn't look like a boxer, so when you see like even pictures with him like with his shirt off, it doesn't look. I don't know. He doesn't have that look compared to the other guy.
Kyle's not impressed.
I don't know. I feel like Tommy Fury would be a good opponent.
Well, he's an actual boxer, so that's something.
Well, and that's how it's gonna go. He's gonna fight now. He's gonna fight an actual boxer who's just coming up. Win or lose, whatever. Then he'll fight. By the time he finally fights someone who's worth something, 3 fights down the road, 2 fights down the road. Because the other thing, too, is he'll take a rematch with Woodley, or he'll fight McGregor. Or I doubt he would fight McGregor, but you know what I'm saying. He would take on a show fight that can be built up in the media before he would take on whoever's contending in the cruiserweight division. You know what I mean? Because who's a cruiserweight title holder? I bet you, even if I looked up their name, it's probably no one we've heard of.
Yeah, so it's funny because they were calling Tyron Woodley the frozen one instead of the chosen one because he was so hesitant to throw punches. Everyone was clowning him like, the frozen one, Tyron Woodley.
That's awesome.
I felt so bad for him because he did look a lot more confident as things went on. It was just too late.
I guess. I mean, that's cool. At least he fought someone.
Yeah.
I wish I could have watched. I was tired.
I woke up at 4 the next day to work, and I went to bed at about 1. I hated my life. But not as much as Crystal Perry.
Kyle's Files, baby.
Kyle's Files. We might
Put up the graphic.
We might have a graphic by that point. Kyle's Files. Kyle picked this Forensic Files episode. Shoe In for Murder, Collection 1. I had watched this one before, but it must have been early in my Forensic Files indulgence because I did not remember anything about it other than I remembered the plot. Had no clue who actually did it.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say the reason it stuck out to me is because
Shoes?
The
You like feet?
No, because the description was like a ton of physical evidence, but no suspects, and I was like, well, how are you gonna find them then?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's important in a murder.
It's right up our alley. You gotta have motive. Do you want me to take it or do you?
Yeah, I don't know. It's Kyle's files, so I don't know if I'm allowed.
Just keep putting the graphic up every time.
I don't know.
It's just that stock image you have of me that looks so unhappy.
Yeah.
Kyle's files.
Uh-huh.
Droopy. 1992, Maine, USA. Crystal Perry. She buys a new home to raise her daughter, Sarah, who's still alive. She is interviewed in the show. So you know it's not her. She didn't do it. That's how you
do that, or she was acquitted.
That's the easy.
Now her being 12 at the time gave me some suspicion. She was old enough to know how to use a knife, but
I keep a notebook with me. She went in my maybe column. They make a comment saying Crystal was known to be a good mother. I think that's a good thing to add in. You don't have to add it in, but like it kind of sets the story well. And like when you see there's different suspects, it's like, nice,
I think the way they kind of made it sound like she had all these potential lovers and stuff, like maybe they thought she slept around and prioritized her daughter or something, but I thought it was nice they added that in there too.
Yeah. Plus it's like, I mean, what are you gonna like make fun of a dead person? Like there's really no I don't know, nothing good about doing that, and I think they do a good job in all the episodes.
They do the good I just wanted to cut you off before you started getting in.
You're good.
They do the really good forensic files things where they go, it was a small town, it was a perfect like family place, nothing bad happened.
I love when they do that.
That's probably in about 7 out of 10 episodes. They describe a place as that.
Yeah, it's always some small town somewhere. I guess Maine, not too busy. People have that kind of accent in the video, which I thought was funny. So she works in a shoe factory, and in all caps I have shoe in.
Oh, no.
Shoe in for murder. There's a lot of shoe references in this episode.
There's a lot of feet.
Yeah, and it makes sense why they chose the title. Sarah is, you said, 12 at the time. Here's her mom having a fight with someone. She doesn't know who it is. She doesn't recognize the voice, and she doesn't see him. But it's a man, is what we're told. Mm-hmm. And really, they don't even. I don't think they clarify that it was a man because there's a female suspect later on. Mm-hmm. But so basically, that kind of sets up the whole. She hears a fight. She hears somebody reach into a drawer. It goes quiet, stabbing, knife drops. I believe she says, or hears somebody run out, and then that's it. Mm-hmm. She runs out to find her mother, and I thought this was incredible. She runs out, finds her mother dead. I don't know if she knows she's dead or if, like, either way she's going to go get help.
Yeah.
The phone line was cut. Understandable. You know what I mean? Somebody's covering their tracks, fine. She runs a half a mile to the nearest house.
That's the Forrest Gump reference. She just keeps running.
Yeah.
She just keeps running all over Timbuktu.
She gets to the house a half mile away. No one's home, or they don't have a phone. I forget the reason.
They didn't answer the door.
The door.
They're probably I ain't answering my door at 2 a.m.
Exactly. And then she runs to a restaurant. Like, what's a half mile? I mean, that's pretty far.
Yeah. Well, you think
being distressed, not knowing if the killer's
still... I can walk
a
mile in about 16 minutes. 15.
I say I ran one in 7 in high school. That's not good at all. So you figure you could probably jog half a mile, sprinting because you're nervous, maybe all the adrenaline. 3 minutes, 12 years old. To be running for 3 minutes.
I would say about 5. I don't know how fit a 12-year-old's going to be running about, but
so like
let's say it took her minimum 4 or 5 minutes.
That's insane. Not knowing if the killer's trying to find her, still in the house,
generous.
Chasing
She's
her.
She's not a cross-country runner.
That's incredible. Running for a half mile in the dark. With the knowledge that, like, I got to get a half mile. This dude could have
been anywhere.
Yeah.
Too.
He could be chasing me even. And then who knows how far that restaurant was. I just thought that was nuts. There's times where, like, you're just, like, scared to death. And, like, gosh, that would be over.
I'd be pumping.
Oh, my gosh. The adrenaline in her blood system was probably off the chart. Like, the blood levels were probably off the charts.
They didn't need luminol to see that.
They took a blood sample. They're like, why are you doing this? 50 stab wounds was my next thing. That's a lot of stab wounds.
That's a few stab wounds.
That's a crime of what do they call that? Crime of passion or something like that.
Which is a very weird thing to describe that as.
Yeah, I get it.
Understand
like a lover's
but also
quarrel.
like it's like, damn it, why don't you love me?
yeah.
You're
the passion. Yeah.
I love you so much and now I'm stabbing you.
I mean, 50 times.
That's I would call that an excessive murder.
I think you're going to say a necessity.
No,
excessive.
It's not a necessity to stab, so I would call it excessive.
They don't clarify, but like, gosh, they couldn't have been in the same spot. 50 times in the same spot, you'd be going into like the floor. I mean, your body's squishy. You're going to be pulling out chunks. This is where I said luminol in action, because it showed a guy.
Oh, yeah. He got the little spray bottle going around on the floor.
The best thing about luminol is it's in a cup like this. It's like...
Yeah, it looks like laundry detergent.
It'd be like if you took this off and just stapled luminol and Sharpie. It's
like
never
secret stuff.
Yeah. It's never in like a nice container. It's just dribbled out. Fingerprints were too soaked in blood to be useful. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before. And that's where they're saying like there's so much evidence. There were a ton of boot prints. Mm-hmm. They make the comment that there were so many boot prints. There were either two murderers or one person moving back and forth trying to clean up the crime. And the Crystal, she wasn't wearing shoes, so they know it wasn't her boot prints. So then the key thing that they bring up here is that there were passive blood droplets found on her.
Yeah, like perfect circular blood drops that imply like you're over someone and they're just falling and landing perfectly.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that like it makes sense. And then they said since they stayed perfectly circular, she must not have been moving. So that happened after she died. Like, I think that part of Forensic Files is why I like the show so much. Where it's like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. They would stay perfect if you're not moving. But like, I wouldn't have, if they wouldn't have clarified that she was dead when the blood hit her, I wouldn't have thought that. I would have been like, oh, when she fell, that's how it dried. You know, it's just, I don't know. I feel like that kind of
the
like...
The lay person doesn't look at it that way.
Exactly. Yeah. The deductive reasoning where it's like, gosh, it didn't take any schooling to come to that conclusion. It's just the way they think about stuff is very interesting. So they find a shoe matched a...
I'm not sure if you said this also, but they determined that the killer was wounded and blood on her, so they knew the killer had to have been hit at some point.
Yeah, right. That with the droplets.
And that's why the droplets, they were falling onto her from someone above, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, gives you something to look for. They find a shoe. The shoe matches the prints. They determine sexual assault did occur. And so the first suspect is the ex-husband. And it's like a lot of...
this dude's a goober. Yeah, they show his picture. It's like him go... He's got some glass. I don't know if he has glasses. Whatever it is, he just has this derpy-looking face, and they just like flash a Polaroid of him across it, and he's just like looking at the camera.
It's all old pictures anyway. That's
looking all funny. Goofy, and I'm like, oh no, not Thomas.
And it's like every Forensic Files episode where if the father isn't around, you can assume he's the one who did it type thing if he's not being interviewed.
There's a bunch of people like that in this one.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was a good one. I don't want to get too sidetracked on like once you find out the ending, but for how it built up with the plot, I thought it turned out pretty well.
I agree.
So he has an alibi that he was with his girlfriend Joanne. Mm-hmm. Joanne has an alibi that she was with her boyfriend Tom, the ex-husband. And the police were like, we quickly realized that their alibis were completely dependent on each other, which meant both could be suspect. And I was like, of course they could be suspect.
Well, the best part, not like this is funny. They also then go, well, there's some problems with that because their only alibis could be confirmed by only each other. And then we did some research, and Joanne had an assault charge because she gave Crystal a black eye at a bar.
That's right. I forgot about that. I was
like, so they didn't have an alibi is basically all you're saying.
I've never understood alibis because it's like, say a crime happens right now, and somebody says, Kyle, where were you? And I go, oh, I was in Nick's basement having an opinion. And they come to you and say, Nick, was he in your basement? Granted, I have no receipts.
We have proof of like when the recording starts.
Say we didn't record this. Me and you were just hanging out. And I say, oh, I was hanging out with Nick. And they ask you, and he goes, yeah, Kyle was hanging out with me. I could have paid you $100 to say that.
They could ask the bronze god next door if they saw you pull up.
Sure. Yeah, if somebody saw my car, but like, if no one was outside when I pulled up, that's why alibis, I get how valuable they are, but I also have wondered, like, I mean, I would hope you wouldn't throw me under the bus.
Easily traceable.
Yeah, if I didn't just buy this with a receipt. He wasn't
clocked into work at this time.
Exactly.
Oh, he has no receipts from being out at this time.
Right, yeah, I could tell them when I clocked out and when I got here. Mm-hmm. And who knows those exact times other than when I clocked out? You don't know when I got here exactly.
We can't all be that Bruce guy from the first film we watched that had 30-something alibis.
Stack of paper. There's 27 people I said hello to as I drove up the street, just in case.
That homeless guy, the gas station clerk. They all saw me. Ask any of them.
I thought that was funny in this episode. Moving along.
Back to the murder.
I gotta find where I was. This one keeps getting juicier. That's why I don't want to skip too much. Sarah thought maybe she recognized the killer as their mother's boyfriend, Dennis. Mm-hmm. Her mom is 30 when she died. Dennis is 19.
Yes.
Interesting. I mean, of age, obviously. Just interesting. They kind of bring that up, like, oh, maybe they were having problems. They say Dennis was a bit aggressive.
Yeah, he had pulled a knife on her before. Yeah. And at that point, I said, bang.
It's got to be Dennis, right?
Not like that's that rare. Well, it is rare for someone to pull a knife on their significant other, obviously. But I mean, he's showed a knife. It's not
right. The dots connect.
Impossible to think, oh, he stabbed her after previously pulling a knife on her.
Exactly. And his shoe matched with the thing. He had the same boot. I could be wrong about that. I thought they said he had the same boot.
Oh, yeah, I think he did, because then, well, you'll get to it in a second.
Shoe size match, okay, that's fine. I mean, I wear a size 11. I could fit into a 10 and a half or a 12. I think the shoe size match, but
he didn't have the boot.
Oh, he didn't have the boot.
I think that's what it was.
I know
they quickly kind of go through all these people they wrote off, so we might mix up a detail or two.
Sure. The big issue was his DNA evidence didn't match the DNA.
And they were flabbergasted.
Yeah, they make a point to say how, like... Yeah, they did it twice because they were, like, that sure that it has to be him. And I thought... I made a note of that, too. Like, say this murder happens 10 years prior to when it did happen. Mm-hmm. That guy probably goes to jail for life.
Oh, yeah.
Everything points to him, and you can't prove the DNA evidence? Mm-hmm. Say he doesn't have an alibi. How would he prove himself innocent there?
And then they found out the husband and girlfriend didn't match either.
Right. So now you're thinking, well...
We're at square one.
Exactly. And what did I have 12 years. 12 years go by. They excluded... I like the way they refer to it. The DNA also included a serial killer. I was like, okay, well, I guess you.
Oh no, I thought this was
a local handyman, and I was like, well, what the?
They said they have newspaper clippings up, and they're like, a serial killer, a romantic handyman from the air. They called him a romantic handyman, I think.
A romantic. It almost sounds like
it was either local or I think they said romantic because I wrote it down as romantic, and I was like, I think I heard that right, but
romantic handyman.
A romantic handyman.
And then you realize the handyman was like convicted of assault or whatever. It's like, why did you refer to him as a handyman? What does his job have to do with anything?
Oh. They didn't just say.
A romantic handyman.
They didn't just say an assault suspect or something. They said
he's a friend of the producer of the show. Like, to make me sound like I was a good guy.
Come on, Rob.
Come on.
Say something good about a romantic handyman.
So we come across...
He gets handsy with the wife of the house while she stays at home.
Romantically.
Oh, man. Romantically.
So 12 years, they come across a Michael Hutchinson. He served some time, and so from what I got out of this, I started getting a little tired near the end here, and I didn't. I don't think I dozed off, though. I have these right to the end. Anywho's it. He serves time. And they take a sample because he's going to prison. That sample is ran against the database, which matched the original sample from 12 years prior of her murder, of Crystal's murder.
But don't worry.
But don't,
he had an excuse.
I love this, too.
A heroic tale.
What's funny about all of these, when the person confesses, that's where we're going with this, is his matched the database, it was a lucky break, and then they go, after being questioned by police, Michael immediately confessed, and I was like, well, I guess it didn't much matter.
Well, he confessed that he was there, but it wasn't the story. He didn't confess to the crime.
Yeah, they explain later what his story was. It just, whenever they say that.
I get why he gave them the story he did. He looks like such a coward, though.
Yeah.
Because his story is essentially, well, we were secretly hooking up. And I heard someone break in, and he knocked me out, and I woke up, and she was dead, and I ran out of the house because I was scared.
Yeah. And to be fair, if forensics wasn't a thing, and you couldn't see the angle of blood and all of that, and footprints.
And it makes sense, too.
It makes great sense.
If someone broke in and you confront them, they knock you out, you see your partner's dead next to you, you might run on instinct. You're not going to stick around.
Right. Now, why you never call the police for 12 years?
Yeah, no, that's where we get into a little bit of trouble, isn't
Isn't
it, Michael?
The what? That face.
That's a next week problem.
Yeah, exactly. That part I thought was funny. Especially, like, they had, like, 3 different people where it's like, yep, I could have... They did it.
Yeah.
Episode's over,
and
10 minutes in.
He also doesn't know much because the daughter was 12.
Yeah.
She lives with the mom.
Right.
The daughter's like, we did everything together.
Yeah.
I had no clue who the hell this guy was.
Yeah.
But he's like, it was a secret! We were forking on the side! No one knew!
She kept it from her. I basically just ended with, he keeps it a secret as he felt ashamed. The evidence obviously doesn't match his claims. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, then why does your boot print? Why is this? Why,
My favorite one was that they go, there was only one imprint in the bed.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. They're like, his story didn't really match up. And then they show a bed with like one person's covers pulled over to get out. And it's like, well, nobody could have tucked those other covers back in.
No one could have made the bed.
Sorry, Michael. You're going to jail for life.
Sarah's instinct wasn't, oh, my mom's dead. Time to make the bed.
I just said he's overwhelmingly found guilty and sentenced to life in prison.
Yeah, it ends pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because they basically go, well, there's one imprint in the bed. Sarah doesn't know who he is, and his blood matched the passive blood droplets, which is the big thing.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, yeah, there's a scar on his hand. And it's like, oh, okay.
Checks out.
Poor Michael didn't have much of a prayer. He tried.
They go to court and they show a Tempur-Pedic mattress with one person's imprint. They're like, see, no one could have slept here. Michael's a liar.
Oh, man. That's a good episode, though. It was a good case.
It was a good, yeah. It was good. Those are always fun, too, because you get interesting, you get mystery, and then at some point you usually get a doofus.
Yeah.
That's like, man, they're just trying.
That guy was... He got out for 12 years, though, before they got him.
And they probably never would have if he wouldn't have gone... If they would have never had a reason to check his DNA, how would they have found him?
So, I don't know. It's a good episode.
It was good.
I hope this was a good episode of Have an Opinion in your minds and hearts as well. I just burped. Excuse me. That's Kyle. I'm Nick. We'll see you next week.